Well, it's a pleasant morning here in the backyard. About 6:30, I think. Cool breeze. It is a little humid. It's going to be another hot day today. But the Arisaka is back together, so it's time for an Arisaka update. I hustled and got it put back together last evening. I only got a couple of coats of rust blue on the sight base and the bottom tang, but I want to shoot the rifle. So I put it back together. I figure I can darken up that steel a little bit later. It's Wednesday morning and there's a military rifle shoot on Saturday. I'm going to try to get this thing down there. I'll get some brass together and load a few test rounds and see what I've got and go from there and hopefully make a showing with it this weekend. So, you know, this side of the rifle, there's not a lot to see. You can see that I did manage to straighten the stock out pretty good. The last video I showed it, it was a little bit too glossy, so I knocked it down with some steel wool and Scotch-Brite, and I rubbed in some paste wax, and I think it's about the right luster now. All of the steel parts cleaned up and blackened very nicely. It's got typical wear. We're just going to let it go that way so it looks authentic. I ended up keeping the original butt cap. We'll have an extra hole in there in the end there for now. I don't know if later if I'll repair that or just leave it and call it character. If you look into there, you can see that you know, there's the hole in the wood behind it, but we'll work on that detail at some other time. I say I want to get this thing out to the range and run it. The rear sight leaf is repaired. I did replace that with another Kakura Arsenal rear sight leaf. This peep sight is intact on this one. They had rubbed in some white to show up the lettering. I may clean that out or just leave it. Once again, it's one of those things that I can fix that detail moving forward. I think right now I just want to get this thing out and see if I can print some targets with it. The front sight base, it polished up nicely. Got a replacement blade in there. The sight picture looks pretty good on it. It stands out well. I like it. Like I mentioned a minute ago, this isn't... Oh, I got an ant right there on the end of my finger. Look at that. Boy, out here in nature, you get friends that you don't even know you have. But I didn't get this quite as black yet as I want it to be. I'll get a few more coats on there later and get that darkened up. For now, I just wanted to get it back together, and then I'll keep looking for a sight base in good condition so I can get the ones with the protective ears on there. A person that I bought some parts from did throw one into the package with other things that I picked up. However, it was heavily distorted when it was removed from the rifle, so it's not really serviceable without a lot of work. I think I'm going to try to find another one, but it all came out pretty well, I think. And see the rear sight, I'm pleased with that. I may try to darken that a little bit on the, maybe I'll just use some lamp black or something on the rear peep, and then the blade and the base in the front, just to get it good and black. So let me flip the rifle over and we can take a look at the other side. Okay, there we go. So on this side, there's not a whole lot to see different. I did take care of that rear sling swivel, so that's in good shape now. It cleaned up pretty well. I think it's going to work. The bore looks good. I think it'll shoot fine. We'll get it out to the range here, hopefully maybe after work today, and run a few rounds through it and see. My dies haven't arrived yet, so I still have that challenge. I've got a Lee loader in 7.7 Japanese, so I can use it to put some test rounds together. And I think that I could probably come up with something, you know, to seat bullets. I've got brand new brass. I could probably just get the neck taken care of with something like a Lee collet die for a 303 British with a spacer or something. I could probably get the necks together and find some way to seat bullets. But I think the Lee loader is probably the most efficient way to just make a few rounds until my real dies get here. But I'm happy with it. The repair to the tang came out fine. You can see that on the bottom where that was welded up and fixed. That screw is the only really ugly screw. That was a replacement screw that I bought from you know, a guy that was selling parts from these rifles. And I need to do some work on that screw. I can fix that screw head. I just didn't want to take the time right now. I wanted to get the rifle back together and shoot it, but you can see the other screws are all in really good shape. So that one will need just a little bit of straightening up to get it up to where I want it. Then I'll get a little bit more bluing on on the tip of that tang to darken it up, but it you know, it's not bright silver anymore. It did start to rust nicely. I just became impatient and I want to get this thing to the range. So, but yeah, the color of the stock came out fine. You know, I didn't strip it. I just cleaned it. You know, I cleaned a lot of the old nasty wax off of it, rubbed in a little bit of tung oil finish, and then like I said a minute ago, I knocked the gloss off and put some paste wax on it, and I think the appearance is just about right color-wise for, you know, what the rifle looked like when I got it. Who knows what it looked like, you know, earlier in its life. Could probably tell some stories, I imagine. So as far as what did I replace, I did replace the front sight blade. That's a replacement part from a different rifle. I did replace this sight leaf. I did replace that rear sling swivel. So I think that, and then the one screw is a screw that was a different part that was not original to the rifle. So those are the only things that are not as I found them. As far as the and a bug moving in by my rear sight there too. As far as the quote-unquote correctness of the rifle, the only thing that I found when it came to me is the extractor has a different assembly number than the other parts. So I'm pretty happy with it. We'll see how it shoots. Get it out to the range hopefully today, get a few rounds through it, try to figure out what to shoot. I'm thinking the Hornady 150 grain bullet. I shoot a fair amount of those in the 7.65 Argentine. I think that'll be a good place to start. I can try the heavier round nose bullet as well, and I have an assortment of different 311, 312 bullets, jacketed. I've got some Spears, I think I've got some Sierras. I've got a fair selection that I've purchased over time to shoot in the Argentine. So there's plenty of stuff to try, just not a lot of time to try it. So I'm going to start with something simple, probably that 150 grain Hornady. Looks like 4320 is right in the speed range. You know, that's a discontinued powder. I do have, I think, 5 pounds of it, so I purchase it because I like it for 350 Remington Magnum, but I could certainly try 4320. 3031 looks good, a little bit on the fast side though, but H4895 would work. There's a lot of options. I see data with H380. So I don't know. I probably will stick with an extruded powder though, so I very well may try the 4320. Say I have plenty of it for now. I can't imagine that I'll shoot up that much of it in this rifle. But yeah, I'm really excited about getting it out and trying it and see if I can make something work. Might even try some cast bullets. I think I'll start with the jacketed just to see how the rifle shoots, and then I've got that NOE 165 bullet that I shoot in the Argentine that would work, and then there's that Lee bullet that's in that size range too, would probably be a good choice. So that's where we're at with Arisaka. Hopefully, like I say, get some rounds through it this evening, see what we can do about getting it to the range on Saturday for the military rifle shoot. Thanks everybody for watching.